All right, and with the 145th pick, the Eagles have selected offensive tackle from Auburn, Jack Driscoll. This is a guy who graduated early from University of Massachusetts, only had 2 offers coming out of high school, decided to go to UMass, and then spent 2 years in the SEC in Gus Malzahn's system there at offensive tackle. Let's start with you, Ross. Fellow offensive lineman, what do you like about this guy's game?
Yeah, Amy, now we are in my wheelhouse. This is a guy that was a late bloomer, as you said, goes to UMass, and after redshirting, started the next 2 years and graduated from UMass in 3 years, which shows how smart of a kid he is. But he wanted to play for a better program. He wanted to play at a higher level to give him this opportunity to be drafted in the 4th round. So he goes to Auburn as a grad transfer and starts 13 games each of the last 2 years at right tackle. That's 45 consecutive starts. Then he goes to the combine, runs a 5.40 40, which is really impressive for a guy that's 6'5", 310 pounds, has some position versatility starting at guard earlier in his career at UMass, but looks primarily to be a tackle who's a really nice athlete. I think the one thing you'd say is perhaps maybe he needs to get a little bit stronger. You wouldn't expect him to have to play for the Eagles right away anyway. And once he gets in there in Philadelphia with the strength program, gets a little bit stronger, works with Jeff Stoutland. I think he's a guy that could probably help provide depth at both guard and tackle.
So, Fran, I know that this is a prospect who was at the East-West Shrine Bowl. He also has talked about how he played at UMass. He then went to an SEC, a different system there at Auburn, and credits his ability to be versatile and pick up different schemes with that ability. What did you see from him in your time getting to know him at the Shrine Bowl?
Well, one of the first things that I have in my notes is actually, Ross, you'll enjoy this. I spoke with Northwestern defensive end Joe Gaziano down at the Shrine Bowl. It was later in the week, and I said, you know what, who's the best player that you faced? Who has really impressed you so far in practice? He told me it was Jack Driscoll, and he talked about how well he was able to keep his base, how well he used his hands, just a really consistent player. And I'm going to go back to the summer, Amy, because a lot of mock drafts last summer, everybody had the left tackle from Auburn, Prince Tega-Wanogho, as a first-round pick. And I would go turn on the film, I'm watching him, and I'm watching the right tackle, Driscoll, as well. I ended up walking away liking Driscoll a little bit more. I thought he was a smarter pass protector. He's got some physical limitations in terms of his lack of length, but he understands that and plays to it. He knows what he's doing in pass protection. I really enjoyed watching this kid on film. You talked about his versatility. He's tough. He's athletic. There's a lot to like with Jack Driscoll, especially when you're talking about a backup offensive lineman. That versatility will be key because that allows you to stick on the bottom of a depth chart early in your career until you're able to grow into a starter.
All right, so we're going to keep breaking down his game, but I did want to let everybody know that the Eagles have traded back that pick 146, the one that was coming up right after this one, traded to Dallas for pick 164 and a 2021 fifth-rounder. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. But let's get back to breaking down Driscoll's game and how he fits into this Eagles offense. At tackle right now, you have Andre Dillard, the left tackle of the future, who is now moving into the Jason Peters role. Lane Johnson on the right side, and then Jordan Mailata, the developmental prospect who we haven't seen play in the regular season yet. A lot of guys on the inside, of course, some proven veterans, and then some young guys with still some question marks. So, Ross, how do you see this prospect adding into the competition and the depth for the Eagles' offensive line?
Yeah, well, first of all, Amy, let's talk about that trade real quick, because for the Eagles to go from 146 to 164 and pick up a fifth-round pick in 2021, that's unbelievable value. I mean, they're only dropping down 18 picks, and they get a fifth-round pick, a whole other player next year. So love that trade by Howie Roseman and the Eagles. As for the Eagles' offensive line, I think they're in pretty good shape. I mean, I like adding Driscoll to the mix, but we saw late in the year last year what Matt Pryor could do when they needed him. He's got position versatility at both guard and tackle. We know who the starters are projected to be right now. I'm still a big fan of Jordan Mailata. I know that he hasn't gotten in regular season games, but I've watched him in the preseason the last couple of years. I still think Mailata is ready to be a swing tackle and or maybe even eventually a starter. I still have faith in the young Australian. Nate Herbig made the team last year as an inside guy, center guard, undrafted free agent. So right there, you've got 8 guys. Now you add Jack Driscoll to the mix as a guy that looks like he could be your 9th guy or at least competing with those other guys. Like we said about the quarterback position last night, offensive line is another spot where the Eagles are always going to continue to bring in reinforcements and make sure they are covered up front.
Yeah, excellent points there, Ross. We are going to take a break for now on Eagles Draft Central, but again, we'll be back to break down pick 164. And as it stands right now, the Eagles also have pick 168 and 190. So we will continue to break it all down as it happens live right here. So we will see you in a little bit.